began his career with Texas A&M University in 1970. He directs much of his efforts toward assistance and educational programs for the commercial fishing industries. Since the early 80s, his work through Texas Sea Grant has focused extensively on bycatch reduction of sea turtles and finfish in the southeastern shrimp fishery. Mr. Graham has extensive contacts throughout the shrimp fishery and has special expertise in working with the various ethnic and diverse groups that trawl in the Gulf of Mexico. He has often been called upon to disseminate new changes to turtle excluder device regulations and gears throughout the region, and was instrumental in assisting the industry with an orderly and effective conversion to TEDS in the early years of adoption. His efforts relating to testing and demonstrating TEDS in collaboration with industry has achieved global notoriety. Fun fact about Gary, I'm not going to go too far into the wonderful world of Gary, but he is an avid outdoors person and conservationist. And at the age of 64, just yesterday, he committed to walking and hiking and has logged over 5,000 miles since then, to include a trek on the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you very much. We talk about turtle excluder devices, and they've been mentioned quite regularly today. I just want to give you kind of an overview of what we're looking at regarding the gear that these things are installed in the fishing arrays. And a lot of the nets that we're using now in the Gulf of Mexico, and this is primarily on the brown shrimp grounds, we actually have 4 nets now, so each boat has to pull 4 of these devices. And we found that we do better pulling little nets than we do large nets, and hence 4. But there's just all sorts of boats that we encounter. We've got the big super trawler to the right and the little bay boat to the left that will just pull 1 net. So, you know, and the requirements are different. When we talk about a turtle excluder device, it's basically right now a grid that's installed into the net. There's different arrays of TEDs. We have some that escape hold as a single flap, some a double. We don't have time to go into all that. But basically, the turtle is mechanically excluded. It swims into the net, it comes in contact with the grid that's at an angle, and it slides out and is excluded. And generally, we have a flap over that hole, generally, and I'm going to go into that in a minute. The first approved TEDs that we got involved with in Sea Grant was developed by the government, by National Marine Fisheries Service, and they were very large. The man on the left there is a Brownsville shrimp fisherman I went out offshore with. We hooked 4 of these big things up in 1 net, and it just wasn't accepted very well. They weighed about 70 pounds apiece. I demonstrated in Port Arthur. I had a guy broke his collarbone with one swinging, and it was kind of tough. They collapsed and, you know, tried to make it work, and these things did. They worked pretty well. But they were just really too big. And there was a lot of, if you were back in the 80s, there was a lot of concern, and it was a lot of drama in the shrimp industry. What happens so many times when a problem happens, the solution's underneath your nose, it's close. You don't see it, you get caught up in stuff. And I think it was in a meeting with an environmental community, I think in about 1985 in New Orleans. I said, I think that the commercial fishing industry is pulling a turtle excluder device and they don't even know it. And what happens is, jelly balls, candy balls, you know what I'm talking about, the jellyfish that wash up on the beach becomes very problematic in certain areas of the fishery. And the industry had actually been putting things in the nets to remove the jelly balls. Now, don't get me wrong, I mean, the holes probably weren't big enough, you know, certainly they weren't, but it gave something, you know, the industry was already onto something, they just didn't know it, and it required some modification. And we were able to prove, and without going into a lot of detail, we were finally able to go over to Cape Canaveral, Florida, where there were a lot of sea turtles in the channel there, and take some of these industry ideas and show, in fact, that they did exclude sea turtles. And we took off from there. And it's basically this this frame array here, and there's different shapes, and we still have a Matagorda head. Matagorda Bay has a lot of cabbage heads, a lot of these jelly balls. And the industry was using over there a triangular piece of gear. It was actually made out of PVC pipe. It wasn't strong enough for sea turtles and nests, but that idea actually arose from Matagorda. And still today we have devices in that shape that's called the Matagorda head. Sea Grant's been extremely involved in outreach efforts and helping try to develop these TEDs and help achieve compliance and these sorts of things. And there's probably three major categories associated with what we're doing. One is sea turtle conservation. The other is actually shrimp retention, trying to help the fishermen there. Hey, wait a minute, you change this, you'll make more money. And then I'm in a new program that's really taken off here in the last year, and this is a gear inspection that I'm doing for environmental marketing. And it's a program that's starting there that's really starting to reach some traction. I can't call it gear certification. I think the new word we came up with last week is maybe gear verification. Right now, Sea Grant has been involved, and Tony Reisinger, you saw his picture, is working with me. We're covering all 5 states. We're doing outreach in all 5 of the Gulf states. And it's cool the way this has evolved. In Port Arthur, for example, there's primarily a Vietnamese fishery there. Their association has us there for 1 week just to check TEDs. And it's incredible to walk down the dock. They're all ready for us. The gear is already lowered. They're sitting there waiting on us so we can do this rapidly. And Tony and I would spend a week there and be driving off, and the guy would call and say, no, you need to come back and check mine. I just came in. And it's just a great success story, and I'm really proud of that. And we have TED weeks here in Brownsville. We actually have an area up at Fouchon-Leeville that was hard to get into that we've turned that around, and we now have a TED week there with the Vietnamese fleet. So that's working good. And we have certain fleets that just demand that we come check their stuff. Zimco here in Brownsville just wants their boats checked every year. And JBS in Port Arthur, and Craig Wallace's fleet in Clashes. And there's a number of those that request us to come up, and most of the boats are in, and get on them and take a look. And so, it's really come a long ways. We do workshops at times, but the true effectiveness is the one-on-one, getting on that boat, working with a fisherman. That's the best thing, looking at their gear. A lot of our work probably is in Texas, in Florida. We do Louisiana a lot too, but and National Marine Fisheries Service has a team of people, and I'm going to discuss that later on. They do a lot of work in Alabama, Mississippi. That's close to them. And Tony and I were in Mississippi, last week or the week before last, and picked up some boats. There's this new program here. We work with a lot of diverse audiences, and it's one of the challenges, but it's something that we've adopted to, and we've learned heuristically, what we need to do and what we don't need to do. I originally started out, I'm thinking Chinese New Year, Vietnamese are important. Boy, we're going to hit the Vietnamese during Chinese New Year. You're not going to do that. Those guys don't want anything to do. They want to drink beer and celebrate. They don't want you on the boat. And I have challenges. So that's a challenge right there. That's Tony Reisinger in that helmet. I know why they call it that now, because he pisses me off every time he wears it down there to the docks. But I see where they got the name. Regarding the sea turtle conservation, over the years you've got to realize that there's been an evolution. We've had to increase the size of holes. We've learned that we probably didn't have a large enough hole when we started. So, you got all these fishermen used to pulling one TED. Now you got to go back and say, this is not going to work. We need you to pull a bigger hole. And just to give you an idea, what we deal with, a 3-inch hole or 2-inch hole, a 3-inch hole in a net, a fisherman will take a needle out and sew it up immediately. We asked these fishermen to pull a device with a 71-inch hole in the net. 71 inches. And so, and they do it. But there's it's taken a lot of work to get there and a lot of things. And in order for these gears, these different types of heads that we have to be actually certified, they've got to be 97% effective in reducing, excluding sea turtles. And there's a new program. It's very complicated, the formula, but there's got to be at least an 88% overall effective rate of the industry in excluding sea turtles with their gear right now. And I'm going to give you a quick rundown on this just a second. There are 4 levels of TED violations, and we go from jaywalking to capital murder. And unfortunately this week we had a capital murder. And it was very sad, and I'll probably get a minute and I'll explain that to you. It's heartbreaking to me. But we had both gotten in a lot of trouble. The angle of that grid is extremely, here, I'm doing it too. The angle of that grid is extremely important. It can't be over 55 degrees. If it gets up past that sea turtle becomes jammed against that grid and can't be excluded as effectively. And that right there is a capital murder. That's a 72-degree angle. And I'm glad we caught that and got that changed. There is a special form, and I can't show it all to you. It's real long, but there's a boarding form that Office of Law Enforcement uses when they go aboard a boat. And it writes down all the necessary parameters there, records it that's in a turtle excluder device. And there's lots of measurements, lots of things that got to be right. And we fill these out. We use that Office of Law Enforcement form. And we take it and make sure the captain has a copy of it so he can see what his gear is and where it ranks. And how compliant he is. I told you that industry had to have an 88% compliance, and here's some of the data. And it gets real complicated, but I wanted to share with you some of the things here that people don't understand. First of all, you'll look here and say, wait a minute, March, there are 42 boats that were boarded. My gosh, there were 13 of them were found in violation. That's a lot. Most of the things that you find in violation, I call them jaywalking. I call them broken tail lights. You can't go get your car inspected if you got a broken tail light. Or broken, and I use that same analogy for things that we're finding in industry here. And another thing you're going to see is, what? They're only boarding in April 15 boats, and there's not very many people checking these things. Well, I want everybody to understand what's going on here. And these data are taken off these Office of Law Enforcement boarding forms. And there's a lot of things going on with that. First of all, and our Parks and Wildlife guys are as good as anybody in understanding these turtle excluder devices and actually enforcing them. They do not turn these forms into the government. And the reason for that, and it doesn't go in the data pool. And the reason for that, and I can understand it, is wait a minute, we'll bias the data. When we're out there to board a boat, we're not looking for somebody that's doing it right, we're looking for somebody that's doing it wrong. And I see this guy, and we know he's no sense bothering Paul there, we know he's always straight. But Benny Galloway, he's an outlaw. We need to get on his boat, and right now we need to check, make sure Benny ever got his stuff together. So they're out looking for the bad guys. You start just turning forms in on the bad guys, you're biasing the data. So it's been in a lot of the other states are saying that. So it's really come down to an issue. So it doesn't look like you're getting as many boats boarded or inspected, but really you are. And so that's one of the issues when you look at the data pool, if you ever go in there and look at it. The boardings are just not being reflected. There's some talk about, well, we don't want to collect data at the dock. And that's all Tony and I do is collect data at the dock. We don't go offshore and collect data. National Marine Fishery Service is actually increasing the number of people they have. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. They've gotten some money from Deepwater Horizon, and they've added a special team that's going to go out and do outreach and inspections. And I just want you to know that when you look at this, these data, it doesn't necessarily reflect the intensity of enforcement. Another thing is, and it'd be very difficult for me, for Charles Calloway to come in and ask me, he said, Gary, I think I've got a problem on this boat with my gear. I'd really like you to come aboard and give me some advice about it. And I go on Charles's boat, he does have a problem, and he's asked me to come aboard. Am I going to fill a form out showing Charles is in violation and turn that in as part of the data set, you know, the industry data set? And, you know, and that's a dilemma, and something that's kind of tough. In addition to, man, I'll turn that up to Tony, both of us missed that. In addition to you know, the compliance part for the sea turtles, we feel like we probably serve an important role in going around with the industry and showing them tricks or things they've overlooked about shrimp retention, and we think that helps with compliance. You know, if you've got your gear working right, you're catching good shrimp. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about knot alignment problems. And the Vietnamese seem to always have low grids, which are not illegal, but they seem to lose shrimp, and it always bothers me. And there's a difference in flap lengths, and it's just what will work in Florida might not work in Texas. Here's advice we came across last week, and that's a modification. That's called the Chauvin fish excluder. That's a little piece of pipe goes across there, and it actually helps get rid of bycatch. Yeah, a lot of bycatch. Y'all taught me today now, Benny, we're calling a bycatch exclusion of finfish. The new code name for that is starboard Ridley. This actually, there are people out here pulling this device without any cover on it. They're on white shrimp. And by the way, there is a problem with that. We had to straighten that out, believe it or not. That boat is out of compliance. It had to stretch further across there. But once the industry saw that and understood it, they changed it last week. Another thing that we do is this grid, like I told you, has to have a special angle on it. If it starts laying down, you lose shrimp. It doesn't kill a turtle, but you lose shrimp. We're trying to teach people to reinforce them with what we call Gridlines, and I don't have a picture of it. We're starting a new program. A fleet just converted over here 2 weeks ago to another idea that we have to anchor that even more to keep that grid at a fixed angle. That on brown shrimp, we found that it's important to keep that hole covered, unlike the white shrimp that was open you saw a while ago. The way the knot points is important. You can put a knot pointed one way on this flap and it keeps the hole closed. You can flip it over and have the knot pointed another way, and this is a hole that you've got here which shrimp can get out. You know, it's hard to get that point across to the Vietnamese. I think we're starting to make progress, don't you, Tony? But for years we've really worked trying to get those guys to see what we were trying to talk about there. I just take a tremendous amount of pleasure in this. Here's, I told you, here's a Ted that's extremely low angle. That guy's losing shrimp. He's shooting out the top, he's losing shrimp. This is Dale Stevens. He's with the gear monitoring team with Next Spring Fishery Service. We work a lot with those guys. We collaborate. We were in Port Arthur and said, John, you're just losing so many shrimp. Tell you what, we'll cut this Ted out and we'll just lay it at the right angle. Y'all sew it back in right. We'll be back in 2 hours. And there's a guy. He understands it there. And he's waving, and I like that. And that to me is, you know, that's what keeps us going. That kind of thing. Ted bird inspection forms or verification forms. What we have now is a new program, or a relatively new program. I've been at it now about 3 or 4 years, but it's really gained steam in the last year and a half. It was started by the Sustainable Seafood Partnership, and what they're trying to do is you've got buyers out there that want verification that they're getting shrimp from responsible people. And we have a special form, I didn't put it up here, that I go in and actually look at the vessels. I measure not only their TEDs and their nets, but also their excluders for fish. make comments on it, and this sort of thing, and that form goes into the buyer. And there's some people that actually post them now, you know, online. The people that are really behind this now is Audubon Nature Institute that we're working with, Tony and I are. They have a program with Gulf United for Lasting Fisheries. And we just, what was it, two big processors in Biloxi last week we visited, and want all of their boats certified now, or verified. And there are more and more buyers starting to demand that. I think there were some California companies that turned down some orders, and I've got people interested in maybe we better do something here. And so that's taking place. It's not a get out of jail free card by any form of fashion, but it does to the fishermen. But when we give them those forms and stuff, I think it does that when really a law does board their boat, they say, look, they were just here last week or 2 weeks ago, and this is what they found. And I think they cut the guys a little slack sometimes. I want to mention briefly, we work really closely with National Marine Fisheries, probably one of the best collaborative efforts that Sea Grant and NOAA Fisheries has ever had. It's this project right here. And we work with them in Texas. I work with them not only to, you know, they go around with the boats with us at times, but we'll also assist them in training law enforcement agents and these sorts of things. They are now have gotten some of the BP money, Deepwater Horizon money. They're hiring 4 new field hires. These will be people that will just be solid on the road, doing what I'm doing, checking boats, and of course we'll compliment them and these sorts of things. And I think we're going to intensify our efforts